Hello and welcome to this video about day in the life as a junior network engineer. Thank you so much for tuning in. And before we get started, please help a girl out. Please subscribe. It would mean so much to me and it will help me out a lot. Without further ado, let's dive in. So, for context, I graduated with an electrical and electronic engineering degree a couple of years ago. And yes, guys, the job market is tough, but it is possible. And I was able, luckily, through the grace of God, to get a graduate scheme. And the graduate scheme lasted for about 2 years, and I was enrolled in a kind of technology scheme, but focused in networks. And I worked for one of a big telecoms company, and it was an experience which I'm going to speak about today. I'm going to split this video into three main parts. So the first part is just going to be an introduction into like what is actually a graduate scheme, because some people may not know that. Then I'm going to actually go into day in the life, what I did in my role, and then I'm going to speak a bit more about network engineering as a whole career choice. Okay, so what is a graduate scheme? So a graduate scheme is, well, I think maybe used in other countries, but based in the UK, we use it to describe essentially it's kind of like a training kind of scheme, and a lot of companies have a graduate scheme for people who just graduated either this year, sometimes the year before, sometimes even 2 years before. But if you're recent grads, companies have a graduate scheme for people who maybe don't have experience but obviously want to work in their company, and the graduate scheme is basically suitable for people with no experience or just have like internship experience or little experience. And the whole idea is that they normally give you a rotation, so you normally sit across different teams, and the whole idea is that you get experience in different teams, and then after the graduate scheme you basically onboard into a team. Either the company picks for you or you pick, depending on what team you like the most. So that's generally how it works, and it's kind of a great idea. When you finish uni, you're not 100% sure what you want to do, and yeah, it's a good idea and good experience. Okay, so day in the life. So I commuted, and I worked hybrid, and it was a mixture of things I did. I'm not going to lie, guys. As a grad, and as probably a lot of junior people experience, sometimes it's a struggle to get work. So sometimes, if I had to be very honest, I did nothing. Sometimes there wasn't a lot of work to do, and I did have to kind of like network, make myself visible, speak to people, and honestly just ask. I had to ask for work so many times before I actually got work. But finally, I got work. And when I did get work, a lot of it, most of what I did as a network engineer, was designing firewall configurations, designing network designs. So, for example, you may have a company, they may have some headquarters that they want their specific firewall device at, and they want to access what's happening at that firewall device in another location or through a dashboard. So basically, we designed the infrastructure behind that, and that was basically what I did. And it sounds so simple, but to do that, you have to understand obviously a lot of firewall related information. There's a lot of networking protocols you need to learn. So I worked very closely with BGP, which was super interesting, and honestly I enjoyed it, but it was a very, very steep learning curve. I also worked with a technology called SDN, software defined networking, which is a change from normal networking. So normally they would like configure using command line interface and stuff of that nature, but now they've moved on to software defined networking, which means you basically configure these protocols like BGP or even your firewall through software, which is really cool. I really enjoyed it. Now, pros and cons. Pros, I worked at a really big company, and I would say one of the best things for working in a big company is that you're exposed to so many different things. Like, I had the opportunity to work with SDN, which is quite new to network industry. That was awesome. And also, I got to work with AI as well. So, because there's such a big company, you have a higher chance of being exposed to different things. I met a lot of different people, and yeah, that was quite fun. The downside, okay, one of my least favorite things about this experience, even though I just said it's one of my favorite things, is that because it was a big company, it is easy to get lost. So as I said in the beginning, like at the beginning, I actually didn't have much work to do. Like I had to keep asking, and that's more likely to happen if you work in a big company as opposed to a small one, especially as a junior level or entry level engineer. So I found that quite difficult, even just mentally. It was kind of difficult to feel like, waking up when I just didn't have anything to do. And then, there was a huge, huge steep learning curve. And I love to learn, but that was hard, honestly. The amount of things I had to learn very, very quickly was scary. Which is one of the reasons why I did this certification called the CCNA. So I think one thing about leaving university made me realize that there's more to life than a degree that educates you, especially if you work in tech or you work in engineering or anything really. Like there's normally some sort of certification that can probably help your career. And for me, the CCNA helps really, really a lot. It helped me understand the absolute basics of networking, how the internet works, what switch is, what a router is, level 2, level 3 of the OSI model. And if you guys want to learn more about that, comment down below and I'll be sure to make a video about the basics of networking and the internet. So yeah, I did a certification, an entry level networking certification, and that really helped. And I'll say as well that working for the first time in a big company, I learned so much things that they do not teach you at university, like the power of networking. I know it's so cliche. I know I'm not talking about computer networking, by the way. I'm talking about the actual networking where you meet people. But honestly, it's actually so important, and it's not just about like speaking to people and like being super friendly. It's also about what do people think about you. Like you have to speak about your work. You have to speak well about yourself. You have to smile, be friendly, be approachable. These are little things, but they have such a huge impact at a company because at the end of the day, if you're really, really smart and talented and you work hard, but you go in a corner and no one knows who you are, then the chances are you won't be called up for opportunities. But even those people who aren't as talented, those people who are able to speak about themselves in a really positive way, and they're always smiley, they're always friendly, they're open, those are the people that are more likely to like get called up for opportunities, guys. It's not fair, but it's life. And that's something I've learned in my few years as an early junior network engineer. Very important. But yeah, there's loads of other things I learned about work that you just can't learn at uni. And all in all, I'm super, super, super grateful for everything. Okay, and the last part of this video is just a background into networking. What is network engineering? For anyone curious how to get in, I've kind of already hinted that one of the entry level certifications is the CCNA, and I have made another short about that. But if you're interested, it's basically a basic or entry level certification. There's no prerequisites other than you just have to obviously revise for the exam, and it teaches you the absolute basics with regards to networking protocols, how the internet works, key fundamental networking devices, and a little bit of AI now. And in terms of like what kind of degree do you need to get into networking, I studied electrical and electronic engineering, which is very heavily related to network engineering. But honestly, guys, it's a bit different. Like my degree didn't actually teach me about network engineering, so I had to learn everything pretty much from scratch. It did give me a small advantage in terms of like there was stuff like binary that I was very familiar with, and obviously like I had a good intuitive understanding of computers. But there was someone else who I worked with, and she did biology, and she did just fine. So you don't actually, there's no prerequisites. If you're interested in network engineering, you think, oh, this sounds interesting, you can definitely do it without any degree, or with any degree. You can come from any background. All you really need is to show that you're interested, and maybe do like an entry level certification, just to, give yourself a good understanding, a good holistic understanding of how networks work. But for entry levels, you don't even need that. You just need to show that you're interested in networks, in the internet, and, you know, prepare for the interview really well. And that is pretty much it, guys. I really hope this was useful. If you feel like I've missed something out, or there's more you would like me to expand on, comment down below. And please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share this to a friend. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and look in the channel description box for free engineering career resources.